All right, good morning. I've got 0700. Real quick special announcement, specifically those for you folks out at the Vermilion Spike Camp. We are going to pause 5 seconds between speakers in case there's an IWI up in camp or you need to break in with emergency traffic. So there'll be a brief pause between speakers in case you do need to break in on command. We realize we're taking up a lot of airtime on command. With that, silence your cell phones, radios, and keep side conversations to a minimum. We are going to start our operational briefing for day shift, October 9th. We'll start off with the current situation update with outgoing operations. John Goss.
Okay, good morning. John Goss with a quick current update here. So we'll start down in branch 25 and 29. Not one call for service last night, so very quiet. In the lower portion of this incident there around Shaver Lake. Not one call for service last night. Probably the first night in a couple nights we didn't have folks calling for some help there, which is good. Moving all the way back up to branch 20, all the values at risk continue to remain as is. They had a pretty heavy presence around Vermilion Valley Resort, Mono Hot Springs Resort, and High Sierra Ranger Station there. So no issues up on top of the mountain as well. One thing going on this morning already is a little bit of a cattle drive going on, and then she'll be up there in Vermilion Valley Resort probably within the next hour or so to start the process of retrieving the 87 head of cattle and then getting them out in a couple days here. So a little bit of a heads up, there is a lot of traffic going uphill out into the Kaiser Basin as we speak. Okay, have a good shift.
All right, thanks, John. We have slightly tweaked the incident objectives, so I'm going to go over them real quick. Management objective number 1, ensure firefighter and public safety by using strategies and tactics that mitigate known and anticipated hazards while following CDC COVID-19 guidelines. Minimize threat to private property, communities, businesses, and critical infrastructure. Maintain and enhance relationships with representative agencies, stakeholders, landowners, and the general public. And minimize the cost to the incident by employing tactics that have the highest probability of success while minimizing firefighter exposure. And implement suppression repair plan through close coordination with our agency resource advisors to reduce impact to natural and cultural resources and reduce excessive erosion. With that, I'm going to bring up our fire weather forecaster and meteorologist, John Pendergast.
Good morning, everyone. We started out this morning in good shape. Humidity-wise, we actually have some recoveries close to 80% along the low drainages and the riverfronts and the lakes up there, even above elevation. The RAWs in Division November also fell down to 50% at sunrise. We haven't seen humidity recoveries like that in 2 to 3 weeks, so we're starting in good shape today. You're going to see some higher clouds starting to spread over the area during the course of the day in advance of an approaching Pacific system. So there is going to be an opportunity for things to heat up despite the approach of the system. Overall cool, however, with highs only in the 70s at lower elevations and 60s above 5,000 feet. So we're going to have a dry period once again, however, as has been the case with the thick, dry air continuing across much of the region. Expect some upslope winds, 5 to 10 miles an hour by afternoon, with some gusts to up to 15 miles an hour at ridge tops. So for the details, just refer to page 4 in the IAP if you have one available. Also, I wanted to share that this fire is a fairly well-instrumented fire. There's a good amount of RAWs and other instruments out there that we can refer to for weather conditions. You can look at the QR code on the weather forecast. If you have a QR device on your phone, click on that. You can see the latest RAWs conditions for the locations around the fire, the most important ones. If you see anything out there, however, that you want to make me aware of, let me know. My phone number is listed on the IAP. Thanks and have a safe day.
All right, thanks, John. Next, we're going to bring up our fire behavior analyst, Jeff Shelton.
Good morning, Jeff Shelton, fire behavior. So the fire environment today is trending cooler We have good recovery. We were just looking at fair recovery. Now we're right into the area of good recovery. But we do have this persistent shading from both smoke, and it's going to be reinforced by clouds. So the fire will remain a fuels-driven fire. In the last week to 2 weeks, it's been a ventilation-dependent fire, that the only way that the fuels really were waking up was with that breath of air. Now it's going to be equally dependent on that ventilation, that upslope changing to up canyon, and RH. The RH recovery is breaking that link of those fine fuels to carry in between the heavies. So movement is going to be focused on areas where the RH is going down, and the RH is going to be related to heating. And heating is going to happen 2 ways. It's either going to happen by the sun, the heat of the day, or it's also going to happen by the fire, and specifically where the fire has some alignment with slope. The areas we're looking that have some slope alignment, you can see where it's moving. It moved up drainage with the wind, and now it's following, now that the humidity's died out a little bit, it's following up drainage into these areas where the fire itself can preheat up in front of it and drive out that moisture. And so when you're out there and you're scouting your piece of line, you need to identify those areas. The IR is really strongly correlating to slope and the continuity of the fuels. Where the fuels are most continuous are, again, in those drainages. That's where there's most moisture, that's where there's most fuels. So if you want to know where your fire is going, look in the drainages. That's where the fuel is, that's where it's going to go throughout the day. What you can expect from fire behavior with when you do have smoke or slope and fuel continuity align, you can expect that smoldering, creeping type of fire to go into a surface fire. And then where it gets good alignment, it's going to climb into the trees. You can have isolated and group torching. I'm not foreseeing anything with this kind of humidity and this lid on the atmosphere. No active crown runs, but it's just going to keep moving. The IR is showing this area in Mike just moving literally like a wave underneath along the ground here. It's not really fingering, and so that's going to be probably the story you're going to see. From the safety side, now that we're going a little more direct, that we've got a little less rowdy fire behavior, the fire footprint is kind of static, and that means that guys and gals are going to be walking in where there's lots of trees that have been fire affected, and the tree you walked by yesterday may not be stable like it was yesterday. And so I ask you, when you go in there, look at trees. I wrote on my notes, trees, 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 trees. This is the time of the fire when that comes into play. If you look on the last thing, if you look at page 5 on the common denominators of fire behavior on tragedy fires, the very first one is on relatively small fires or deceptively quiet areas of large fires. You're going to be working in a ton of deceptively quiet areas. And these common denominators are written in blood. So please take the extra time. Don't be complacent with that today with the fire behavior. This is my last briefing. I'm going out with the team that's moving on. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. We're going to bring up safety with Greg Marfel.
Good morning. So when it comes to wearing masks, there's a lot of people that have some concerns about their personal freedoms, and justifiably so. But there's a lot of things in this country that we have to do. For instance, we have compulsory education, and that's so that you can read a ballot. You cannot live in a democracy if you can't read a ballot. So as you can see, freedom comes with responsibility. Also, we have a duty to each other as firefighters to keep each other healthy so that we can continue with this unprecedented fire season. And as human beings, it's just a good thing that we keep each other healthy so that we can prevent us from taking it home to our families and getting them sick. Thanks, and have a strong shift.
Thanks, Greg. For operational assignments, we'll bring up planning ops, Clint Gould.
Good morning, everyone. So out in the field today, we've got our field ops, Jeff Henson. Starting up in the north on Division Mike, we've got Isaac Naylor and Raymond Mitchson. They're going to be looking for opportunities coming off of Edison Lake to either put handline in going north to Devil's Lake, or even following some of the trail systems that come out towards the west to tie back into the South Fork of the San Joaquin. Weather dependent and fuels dependent. Crews are going to be assessing that today to see whether we can make that plan work. Dropping down into November, we got Marquez and Kennedy as his trainee. With the conditions that we had yesterday and today, fire activity slowed on this portion that pooched out furthest to the east. What they're looking at doing there is going direct on that to tie back into the 80 road on both sides coming out of Florence Lake. Division Papa, in the horseshoe, we got Carson Hall and Dehart, where the junction splits and leaves the 80 road and goes on to the 5. They're starting to look at some direct line opportunity to come out towards the center, tie it into some rocks, and potentially continue direct line all the way through the horn due to the fire burning into the old Aspen Scar and not a whole lot of movement in the last few days. Division Romeo heading south. Things are looking extremely well out there. No new movement. They're securing the edge, patrolling and mopping up, and patrolling backhaul. Coming down into the bottom branch, 25 and 29, we've got Bond Trigger as the branch director out there. In SUV, we've got Laurie. They're going to continue securing the edge and patrolling, mop up, and pulling backhaul, extra hose that's being found out there in the lines. Division Whiskey X-Ray Zulu, we've got Watson. They're doing the same, patrolling, mopping up, and pulling backhaul. Suppression repair, they're still doing what they need to in the lower section, putting in lines, water bars, whatnot, and what's needed. This little section in the bottom that's showing red on the map, we got confirmation last night. They have blacked it, so we've got black all the way from the zone break between north and south zones, all the way up to Huntington Lake at the division break. And into report.
All right, thanks, Clint. We're going to go now to air operations with Brian Sexton.
Morning, everyone. Aircraft lineup for today. We have 14 helicopters out of Fresno here. We have helicopter 507, the Cobra, available to deliver intelligence products and aerial supervision. We also have Air Attack 51 that will be getting up shortly after 8 to assess visibility. In the South Zone, out of Aubrey Helibase, we have 6 helicopters. We have 2 Type 1s, 3 Type 2s, and 1 Type 3. We also have Helco available out of Aubrey. We'll be getting up periodically to assess visibility throughout the day. In the North Zone, out of Mariposa Helibase, we have 7 helicopters. We have 3 Type 1s, 2 Type 2s, and 2 Type 3s available. And we also have helicopter 407 available out of Visalia as a 24-hour hoist-capable medevac ship. They do have a 35-minute ETA, and we are sharing them with the Sequoia complex. So have a safe shift. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brian. I'll bring up for communications, Joe Macy's.
Good morning. There is no new clone, and for those that are just coming on the fire, we do our whole system on the south is linked, and bring your comms into South Creek Communications down here. Also, we have in the clone SNF4 as a backup for emergencies. That we realize that we can't get 100% coverage, and you might be working in an area where you do not have command from our system. And if an IWI happens, make sure you know how to get to SNF4, and we're using tone 4, 5, and 9. For our non-commander radios, you need to find a way, have that in your radio in another location other than our clone if you need to use tones 4 or 9. And you can come to the comm shop and we'll help you with that if you need to. Also, China Peak has a unit up there. They will help you with cloning and your communication needs as well. My phone number is at the bottom of the 205. Speaking of that, if you would turn to your 205. One of the things I want you to notice on the 205 is that our tactical channels are tone protected on both sides. This is necessary because of the tacticals we are using when we're using the V-Fires and we're using the CAL FIRE CDF. They have to be tone protected on both sides. What that means is if you're out there and you're hand jamming your own radio, make sure you pay attention to that. There are problems happen when people are hand programming their own radios and they're not putting in receive and transmit tones for those tags. And if you notice, we are using 3 different tones, tone 5 for all of our command, tone 16 for CDF, as well as tone 6 for our VTACs. So please pay attention to that. If you need any help, we're here to help. My phone number is at the bottom of the 205, and give us a call if you need anything. Thank you.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. We'll bring up Blaine Haywood for medical.
Excuse me. Good morning. First of all, as you can see, our team's changing a few things as far as our COVID precautions. We're doing the wristbands. Our team takes the COVID precautions very seriously. So just a reminder, please, if you're in the ICP, wear your mask. If you're walking around camp, wear your mask. Also, as always, review your 206. Have a plan, know the plan before an emergency happens. Thanks. Have a safe shift.
Thanks, Blaine. For logistics, Mark Radican.
Good morning, Mark Radican. Larry Dirks, your logistics chief up in China Peak. We're going to be making a couple minor changes in camp over the next couple of days, mainly COVID mitigation. Also, we're working on getting fuel and cell service up to the Vermilion camp. We're here to support you, so if we can do anything for you, let us know. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. For finance, Joan Disney.
Good morning, Joan Disney, Finance. Just a couple of changes for Finance. They're noted on page 24 of your IAP in the Finance message. We have new phone numbers for South Zone Finance contacts. So if you have questions for personnel time or equipment time or comp claims, the numbers are listed there. Please call us if you have questions. Otherwise, just keep turning in your times the same way that you have been. We'll have boxes up at China Peak. If you're turning in hard copies, those will be welcome. And if you have been submitting electronic times, the email address is the same. We just ask that you mark in your subject line that they are for the South Zone so that we can get them routed correctly. Otherwise, keep turning them in every other day and have a safe shift. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. For human resources, Janine Summy.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Janine Summy. I'm the incoming HR. Thank you, Andrea, for setting me up for success. I'm here at the ICP right now, obviously, but I'm going to be going out to China Peak later on today. My contact information is in the IAP on page 23 with my message. It's a good read. I'd like you to share it with your crews. When you get the opportunity, it reminds you of some of the rights and responsibilities while on assignment. I just want to remind you of a couple of those things, which is that this is an alcohol-free and illegal drug-free incident. So we just want you to remind everybody that you're working with that that's the case so that we're all fit for duty while we're here. I have a quote for you today. And if anybody wants to let me know who made this quote, you'll get a bonus point. Our lives are not determined by what happens to us, but by how we react to what happens. Not by what life brings to us, but by the attitude we bring to life. A positive attitude causes a chain reaction of positive thoughts, events, and outcomes. It is a catalyst, a spark that creates extraordinary results. You guys are creating extraordinary results out there. We appreciate the hard work. Have a good, safe shift.
Thanks, Janine. We do not have a training specialist on site on the incident. He is working virtually, however, so please follow the QR code and the instructions in your IAP to get your training logged. Also, if you take a look at the DMOB instructions, they have been tweaked a little bit to streamline the process, so please pay attention to, if you are on the DMOB list today, the instructions that are inside your IAP. With that, I'm going to bring up the Forest Supervisor, Dean Gould.
Good morning, Dean Gould, Forest Supervisor, Sierra National Forest, Agency Administrator for the Creek Incident. First of all, welcome back to Team 14. Very glad to have you folks here. A lot of fresh faces, raring to go. Today is week 5 now with this incident. It's certainly been a long haul for a lot of folks, and so it really is good to see you folks back here to bring a boost back to the incident. Just hearing the briefings today, sounds like things are lining up pretty good. Weather, fire behavior, conditions out there, looking pretty good for us to really make some progress here. So definitely very anxious to work with us and work with all of you in a very safe way. Really appreciate all the messages, but in particular, I just wanted to highlight the comment that was made by fire behavior about deceptively quiet situations out there. We have an awful lot of that, probably around 300,000 acres or so. There's still a portion that's active. The rest of it is, I think, exactly in that category of deceptively quiet and just rampant with risk. And so please do not be deceived as you go into those areas. Rest assured there's ample risk. And I would also bet money that anyone who's been on this incident for any amount of time out there, you have heard and seen the trees falling down around you. I mean, that has to have been something that you've been experiencing probably on a very frequent basis, so you know the risk involved with that. So I just encourage you again as we go into today and every morning, do that personal reset, get yourself dialed back in. Don't have today be Friday, tomorrow be Friday, next 3 days are Fridays. Make every day unique, really get yourself up to speed on exactly what's going on and where you're going to be assigned, and have a safe shift.
Thanks, Dean. For closing comments, our incident commander, Mike Strawn.
Morning. Good. So, Team 5, Rick, thank you very much. Good job. You should be proud with your time here on this incident. You're leaving us in good hands. So thank you once again, Team 5 and Rick Young. Transition day. So here we are. Number 19, watch out. We need to slow down today. Take your time, figure out the plan. Before you step off, no communications, who you're working for. We've done our best to not change a whole lot in tactics strategy. They left us in the right place, so well done. So you're number 1, ensure firefighter and public safety. So today, it's been said, but before you settle down and work, check your work area, make sure the trees are sound. You're driving out to the incident, slow down. You're getting paid by the hour, so just ease into it. If you're working alongside the highway, be careful. There's a lot of hard work going on out there. So truly, driving and trees are your 2 number 1 concerns. Lastly, we're Team 14, Central Sierra Incident Management Team. We're here to support you. Our job is to support you so you can get the job done. Good chow, solid leadership, clean IAP, everything we can do to make sure you have everything to put the fire out. So we're here. If you see the patch or a red name tag, come to us. We'll get you what you need. So look out for each other. Have a good shift.
Thanks, Mike. All right, for breakouts, each camp, please look to your division group soups that were done, mentioned during roll call. Any unassigned resources for China Pink Camp, please seek out the operations section chief. And for Sierra Camp, please seek out the unified IC. With that, go ahead and turn your cell phones back on, your radios, and you guys have a great day and a safe shift. We'll see you tomorrow.